Well, there's been a lot of controversy in the news lately about security firms in Iraq. Been congressional hearings on this. There's a lot of interest, and part of the reason is when the Cold War ended, we simply cut our ground forces too much, the Army and Marines, and we're paying the cost of that now. It takes years, even when you're in a long war, to grow a force back up, to recruit people, to get equipment, to get them over there. It's not easy. And the other reason is, in some places, it just makes sense to use contractors. For example, mostly what Blackwater does is just guard people. That's not typically what soldiers do. That's not what they're trained to do. You're much better off just hiring a firm to do some of these kind of narrow missions. So in some ways it makes just good economic sense. In other ways we're just paying the price of having cut our military too much after the Cold War ended. Well, you've seen a lot of discussions in the press and congressional hearings that contractors are accountable for no one, just running around the battlefield shooting whoever they want. It's a myth to argue that contractors are beyond the law. They're simply not. Every contractor that's working in Iraq that has a contract with the U.S. government is responsible to somebody in the U.S. government, has responsibility for overseeing them, either in the State Department or in the Department of Defense. And contractors are accountable under the law. Now, some of them are not accountable under Iraqi law by a negotiation with the United States, but that doesn't mean they're not accountable under U.S. law. They can be prosecuted under U.S. laws, and indeed the State Department and Department of Defense, if they think a crime has been committed, have an obligation to get investigators over there and investigate that and prosecute them. Nobody in Iraq is beyond the law. Well, that's a great question. You hear all these newspaper articles about military contractors and all these congressional hearings and all of these people jumping up and say, well, let's just throw the contractors out of Iraq. Well, that's a terrible idea. Those contractors are doing valuable work there. If we had to take one military security company and take it out of Iraq, we'd have to add in 15,000 soldiers to basically guard officials. We want our soldiers in Iraq to be going out and making the countryside safe. So that they provide a valuable service. I mean, there are over 100,000 contractors in Iraq. The vast majority of them are doing things in our interest, doing things to help the Iraqis out. What we need is to have a Defense Department and State Department that are doing their job, that are overseeing these contractors correctly and holding contractors accountable. That's what's important.
For more information, log on to heritage.org.